This amazing story begins in the Josian kingdom, a vast and expansive empire. The king of this empire was Ganwei. King Ganwei had been ruling the Josian kingdom wisely and efficiently for years. But he had no idea that one day, his own people would turn against him. At this moment, King Ganwei was fleeing with his young daughter and a loyal bodyguard. They had received news that some people were coming to kill him. So, in order to save his daughter, Ganwei was escaping. The shocking part, these enemies were not outsiders, but people from his own empire. The kingdom was divided into two main factions, the Ming dynasty and the Qing dynasty. Both these dynasties constantly clashed, always trying to prove who was superior. But as the king, Ganwei had never supported one group over the other. He believed that if he sided with one, the other would become an enemy. That's why he always tried to maintain peace between them. He urged both factions to live together harmoniously, no matter what happened. Later, when Ganwei reached his home with his bodyguard, he found that the entire house had been surrounded by soldiers. These were Ming warriors, seeking revenge. In their view, either Ganwei should actively support their cause or give up his throne forever. The Ming faction wanted to form their own government and had now decided to attack Ganwei. They began to forcefully enter his home. In response, Ganwei's top bodyguard, Ganggum, stepped in to defend him. Ganggum was the best among all of the king's warriors, and that's why Ganwei had trusted him with his family's safety. But the Ming warriors weren't weak either. Their leader was a skilled fighter named Sango, who now stood face to face with Ganggum. Sango warned, "We don't want destruction. Let the king surrender peacefully, and we will establish a new government." But Ganggum replied, "Even if I die, I will not let anything happen to the king or his family." Sango realized that words wouldn't work here, a battle was unavoidable. And so, a deadly fight broke out between Ganggum and Sango. Both warriors gave each other a tough challenge. Sango was experienced in combat, while Ganggum, though less experienced, had flawless fighting skills. They fought intensely for a long time. Suddenly, Sango launched a fierce attack, breaking Ganggum's sword. The fragments of the shattered sword struck Ganggum's face, injuring him badly. Now unable to fight further, Ganggum fell. When King Ganwei learned of this, he stepped forward and ordered everything to stop. He asked them not to harm Ganggum and declared that he would surrender. He told the attackers they could do whatever they wished with the throne, but to spare Ganggum and his family. Ganggum didn't want the king to surrender. But King Ganwei came up to him and handed him a ribbon, a symbolic gesture. Through this, the king was asking Ganggum to take care of his daughter and leave the place. "Stay with her until she grows up," was the unspoken message. And Ganggum understood it fully. Escaping from the soldiers, Ganggum picked up the king's daughter and fled. Meanwhile, King Ganwei had been captured by the soldiers. No one knew what they would do to him, but one thing was certain, he would no longer remain the king of Josian. Ganggum felt deeply hurt. He had protected the king for so many years, and now, he had to abandon him to die. He had never imagined such an ending. Many years passed after that incident. The story fast-forwards to the present. King Ganwei's daughter had now grown up, and Ganggum had raised her since childhood. They both lived far away in a remote forested region. The girl had been named Taki by the king. Together, Ganggum and Taki lived in peace, gathering food and surviving off the land. The most shocking part, Ganggum never told Taki who her real father was. From the beginning, Taki believed that Ganggum was her real father. They lived their life together as a family. However, trouble loomed. Years ago, during a battle, Ganggum had received an injury to his eyes, which blurred his vision. Over time, his eyesight had worsened, and now he was on the verge of permanent blindness. Taki noticed this and grew very worried. To help, she brought a doctor to examine Ganggum thoroughly. The doctor did several checkups and confirmed the seriousness of the problem. He explained that to treat this condition, they would need special herbs found only on the other side of the mountains, across the forest. After getting all the details from the doctor, Taki made up her mind, she would travel with Ganggum to find the herbs. And so, the two of them set off on a small journey. Meanwhile, the scene shifts back to the Josian kingdom, now ruled by a new king named Inju. He was responsible for maintaining peace and order in the kingdom. One day, Sango, the same warrior who had fought Ganggum years ago, arrived at the palace. He came with one of his allies to meet King Inju. Sango explained the growing tensions. The Qing dynasty faction was constantly attacking them. They had taken control of every border of Josian, and it seemed highly likely that a full-scale invasion might happen soon. Tensions rise and new conflicts begin. In fact, whenever people from the Ming dynasty stepped outside their borders, the Qing dynasty soldiers had standing orders, they were to be kidnapped immediately. Many Ming citizens were already held captive by the Qing dynasty. When Sango brought this matter to the attention of King Inju of Josian Kingdom, he noticed that the king sided more with the King dynasty. Inju made it very clear, he supported the King dynasty, even if it meant sacrificing innocent lives. Sango warned him, it may not seem like a problem now, but eventually, the King dynasty will become so powerful, they'll take your throne too. And then Josian will need a new king. Inju was now deep in thought. He had to make a decision, either side with the King dynasty or with the Ming dynasty. Sango and his allies gave him time to think and then left the palace. But they couldn't sit idle in the face of the coming danger. Meanwhile, we are shown a bustling market, where Gangam and Taki have arrived. This was the place where they hoped to find the herbs and medicine to cure Gangam's worsening eye condition. They searched everywhere but had yet to find anything helpful. Taki, however, was still a bit happy, at least she could try to solve her father's problem. Elsewhere, we are introduced to Songyu and his master, Mokyo. At this moment, a Ming dynasty leader named Tai appeared before them. Tai had come to insult Mokyo and his community, showing off his strength and claiming that the Ming dynasty was too powerful to be challenged. Songyu couldn't tolerate this insult to his master. Furious, he drew his sword and shut Tai up. Tai realized Songyu might be a formidable warrior. Curious to test his strength, Tai challenged Songyu to a duel. Songyu hadn't fought in a while, so he agreed, ready to show his true abilities. In response, Tai sent out his strongest warrior to fight against Songyu. Both fighters stood face to face, swords in hand, and launched straight into a fierce battle. The warrior's rage, the cost of medicine, and a growing threat. The warrior sent by Tai was extremely aggressive. He launched a flurry of rapid, furious attacks on Songyu. But Songyu calmly handled the situation, dodging every strike and responding with precise counterattacks. Everyone watching assumed Tai's warrior would win. But Songyu proved them all wrong. Using his expert dodging skills, he slid past his opponent's defense and struck directly at the warrior's hands with his sword, disabling him without causing serious harm. It became clear to everyone that even after all these years, the samurai inside Songyu was still alive and strong. After the defeat, Tai left the area silently. Meanwhile, we returned to Gangam and Taki, who had reached a place where they hoped to find the medicine they needed. There, they met a woman named Kim, who ran the herbal medicine business. Taki explained everything to her and asked for the specific medicine. But Kim replied that the medicine was extremely expensive, so expensive that even rich people had to think twice before buying it. Taki desperately wanted to buy it for Gangam's treatment. She had gathered some animal skins on the way, hoping to trade them. But Kim told her that it wasn't enough, she needed a lot more money if she wanted the medicine. Gangam, seeing the situation, gently told Taki, "We don't need it. Let's leave this place. Whatever happens, we'll face it together." Taki was heartbroken. She only wanted to help her father. They left the shop and walked toward a nearby market in search of some food. Quietly, Gangam bought Taki's favorite bracelet, something she had always liked. Meanwhile, Myuk, a man from the area, came to Kim, asking for help. He said he was looking for a woman who could take care of his elderly mother and family. Hearing this, Kim immediately thought of Taki, she'd be perfect for the role. Plus, the job would provide Taki with the money she needed to buy the medicine. Kim decided to offer Taki the job. Elsewhere, while Gangam was resting, he began to see visions from his past. He woke up in a panic, feeling like someone was coming to kill him. He quickly went to a swordsmith, a man who made custom swords. Gangam knew that when trouble came, he would need a weapon. But he had no money to buy one. So he kept returning to the shop, hoping to build trust with the craftsman. Meanwhile, Kim told Taki about the job opportunity. If she took the role, she'd earn enough to buy the medicine. Kim explained that Taki would have to work at leader Mokyo's household, caring for his family. In return, she would be paid very well. Taki was overjoyed and accepted the job immediately, determined to help her father. She left with Kim and met Mokyo, telling him she was ready to take the position. Mokyo, impressed by her presence and spirit, felt confident she would take good care of his family. He hired her with a generous payment. Later, when Gangam woke up and realized Taki was missing, he started asking around. Someone told him she had gone with a woman named Kim, toward the territory controlled by Mokyo and his soldiers. Gangam was shocked and immediately ran off to find and protect her. He couldn't allow Taki to be in any kind of danger. Meanwhile, in the area where Taki was working, a group of Inju's men arrived. These men began harassing and assaulting the women working there. They were cruel and violent, torturing the women, and if the bodyguards hadn't intervened, they would have killed them. But Tai's men were exceptionally powerful, they even managed to eliminate the guards. At that moment, Taki entered the scene. Seeing what was happening, she threw a rock at one of the soldiers to distract him. The warrior returns, and a secret is revealed. But that soldier saw Taki and got so enraged that he charged toward her to kill her. However, before he could do anything, Gangnam arrived just in time. Even though he had given up fighting, the samurai spirit inside him was still alive. He now directly challenged the soldiers to a fight. One of Tai's most dangerous soldiers stepped forward to face Gangnam. Gangnam only had a wooden sword, which clearly wouldn't last long in combat. But Gangnam was so incredibly skilled that, despite the weak weapon, he defeated the samurai. His accuracy and execution were flawless. It left everyone around in total shock. The remaining soldiers of Tai ran away in fear. Gangnam then immediately went over to Taki and the other injured women to help them with treatment. At the edge of the scene, the warrior Sangyu was watching everything unfold from a distance. He began to suspect something. He remembered fighting Gangnam many years ago, and the girl named Taki with him definitely wasn't his biological daughter. Her face, in fact, resembled King Ganv. That's when Sangyu realized Taki was the king's daughter. A secret plan and a dangerous game. Sangyu went straight to Master Mukio and told him what he suspected. Mukio acknowledged Taki's identity and agreed that she was a good girl. He said he would adopt her as his daughter and have her look after his household in the future. Later, when Taki and Gangnam returned home, she told him with great determination that she would work very hard, earn enough money to pay for his treatment, and take care of him. Gangnam was deeply emotional. After all, he had saved Taki's life since childhood, and now she was ready to do anything for him. You could see the pride and joy in Gangnam's eyes, the kind of happiness only a father feels for his child. But it was uncertain whether they would be able to stay together for long. Troubling incidents seemed to be approaching, events that could separate them. A dangerous deception. Now we're shown Mukio, who gathered with his allies for a secret meeting. Sangyu was also there, eavesdropping silently, listening to everything. Mukio revealed that their lives were in danger. The enemies were actively hunting his daughter. To protect her, Mukio proposed that they replace his real daughter with another girl, the one who recently joined them. In reality, he was talking about Taki. He planned to use Taki as a decoy in place of his real daughter. So if an enemy attack happened, Taki would be put in front, and the real daughter would remain safe. Sangyu overheard all of this. He was strongly against it, knowing full well that Taki was the king's daughter. But something strange was stirring in his mind. Despite knowing the truth, he didn't act immediately. The invasion begins. The next day, Tai was ready, prepared with all his men to launch an attack on Mukio's family. He had already sent several soldiers to begin the assault. Meanwhile, Gangnam was shown on his way to meet Taki. Suddenly, several enemy soldiers appeared before him. They began attacking Gangnam, sent by Tai specifically to kill him. Tai wanted revenge for how Gangnam had embarrassed and defeated many of his warriors earlier. He wasn't going to let him go that easily. But Gangnam fought fiercely, taking down many of the soldiers single-handedly. At the same time, many of Tai's men had already breached Mukio's chambers, taking people hostage. Then Tai himself arrived, capturing both Mukio and his daughter Taikyu. That's when Tai understood Mukio's plan. He had sent his real daughter somewhere else. Furious, Tai was about to kill Mukio when Sangyu appeared. Sangyu accepted an offer previously made by Tai, that he would become Tai's swordsman, and in return, Tai would spare Mukio and Tao's lives. This deal was now done with the enemy group. Elsewhere, Kim was attacked by the same soldier who had come to take revenge on Gum. Kim suffered serious injuries, but fortunately, Gum arrived in time. He began to beat up the soldier. The soldier couldn't withstand it and collapsed unconscious. Gum asked Kim where they had kept Tao. Kim then admitted that Mukio had enslaved her here. She took Gum to that place, and they reached Mukio's base, but everyone there had been killed. Daokyu was also missing. This enraged Gum, who desperately wanted to save Tao. So angry, Gum stormed into the enemy's hideout. Tai and his men weren't there, only a few bodyguards guarding the place. Gum, not thinking straight, demanded to know Tao's whereabouts. When they refused, he started killing them. He wasn't listening to anyone and seemed to be unleashing his true form. He took a sharp sword from one of the soldiers and started killing everyone. One bodyguard told him that the kidnapped people were usually taken to the border and held there. So Gum assumed Tao must be there too and rushed to the border. Meanwhile, Mokio planned a counterattack, thinking that they could retaliate strongly and put up a fight. Both groups were now preparing for a brutal battle. Gum arrived at the border area where the captives were held. Inside, he found some people misbehaving with the women. Gum immediately attacked and began killing them. He also met the lady who had earlier provided food to them. But even after a thorough search, Tao was nowhere to be found. The lady told him that Tai might have taken Tao to his kingdom. Now Gum would head toward the kingdom. The next morning, Mokio's soldiers and Tai's forces stood face to face. They started attacking each other. But Tai's men had guns and began firing directly at the enemies, killing many of them. One by one, all of Mukio's soldiers were wiped out. Mokio started to panic, fearing he would be killed too. Some enemy soldiers advanced toward him. But just then, Gum arrived. Gum saved Mukio's life and started killing everyone. In fact, all the samurais now faced Gum, but not one of them could land even a scratch on him. This showed just how much Gam had evolved during this time. He fought each enemy with precision and skill, eventually defeating them all. But the remaining soldiers, the ones armed with guns, had now realized that an enemy had arrived. They all began firing rapidly. Gam used the body of a fallen samurai as a shield and, while protecting himself, continued to eliminate the enemy soldiers. Yes, Gam single-handedly wiped out Tai's entire army. All this incredible skill and experience, he had kept it hidden all along. After such an intense and brutal battle, Gam collapsed from exhaustion. Mokio, thanked him deeply and had him taken away for treatment. Some time later, when Gam finally woke up, there was a bandage on his eyes. It meant he had been given the special medicine, the very expensive one, and this was all thanks to Mokio. Taki was also standing nearby, extremely happy. It was now confirmed that Gam's eyesight would never fail again. Now, all Gam had to do was fight alongside Mokio and help him reclaim his lost kingdom. Gam knew he could never repay such a great favor, so he decided to become Mokio's sworn salt man, trusted ally. Their lives from that point on started moving in a much better direction. And with that, our story also comes to an end.